adversity, bring it. The struggle, I welcome it. Snooze on life, never that. I am Dave Regina, and this is the No Snooze Podcast. Come on. Welcome back, No Snooze Podcast, episode 202. As always, I'm in the booth with a phenomenal three. We have Claudio, the voice, Valenzuela. We have Amanda, Boundless, Herdman, and I am Dave, the body, Regina. Amanda Herdman is the owner of Boundless Nutrition in Pleasantville, New York, where she helps customers achieve their fitness goals through a range of supplements, shakes, and meal prep options. Her passion for health and fitness began at a young age in Paterson, New York, where she was involved in cheerleading and field hockey. In high school, she entered competitive bodybuilding, which ignited her interest in the supplement industry and ultimately led her to open her own business. In addition to running Boundless Nutrition, Amanda is a national-level competitive powerlifter, constantly pushing her physical limits. Outside of training and helping others improve their health, she has a deep passion for equestrian sports, a love she developed during her childhood. She is also an avid enthusiast of guns and cigars, enjoying these hobbies as a way to unwind and appreciate life from a different perspective. Amanda was raised in a family that deeply influenced who she is today, with three older brothers, two of whom who have special needs, and one who serves in the military as part of the Special Forces, along with two incredible parents who have been married for 38 years. She learned the importance of hard work, perseverance, and family. Above all, Amanda is a God-fearing woman, and her faith serves as the foundation for everything she does. It guides her decisions, actions, and overall outlook on life, inspiring her to live authentically and with purpose. She believes in helping others reach their full potential and living with integrity, both in the gym and in everyday life. Amanda, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Dave. What an intro.
How'd that sound?
Thank you. You did a great job.
It was all right?
You even nailed the word equestrian sports. Good job.
I mean, maybe we should start there because I know a lot of people listening, they're driving in the car and they're like, Dave doesn't know what equestrian is. I do happen to believe that it has something to do with these amazing cowboy boots
Hell
here.
Yeah.
So start there. What's equestrian sports?
So equestrian sports is competitive horseback riding. So I started that as a kid. I was about 10 years old. Show jumping, pretty much you take your horse, you go over some jumps, trot around. So that's pretty much that.
Very cool.
So yeah, I used to compete in it. I don't compete anymore. Now I'm just trying not to be so competitive in everything I do.
Right.
So I just do it pretty much just to reduce stress, as a leisure activity now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
There's always things that like you learn about people quickly, and that was one of them. I'm like, I got to tap into that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
I want to say thank you to you and all your incredible support with what Sean and I are doing with ACE. Mm-hmm. You have been a brand partner from day one, and I am curious, why did you get on board with ACE so early on?
Yeah, so you guys are so special to me too as well. You guys have both brought me so much value, and your amazing community and following you guys have. I love ACE. Honestly, ACE felt so near and dear to my heart when I heard it was about, impacting men, bettering men, growing up with three brothers in my household, seeing struggles that they went through, seeing times where they could have used that. They could have really used a group of, strong men to help pick them up and, have a network of people like that. And I just love what you guys are doing for men because like I've said before, a lot of men don't want to go to therapy. A lot of men don't feel comfortable doing things like that. So like having a strong group of men that you guys are creating and activities and, events, like it gives them that outlet that they need. And it's so, so important because, we need to take care of our men in this world today. It's so important to take care of their mental health. So,
Thank you. But getting you on board early on and, we didn't want it to just be for men. you know, and you were one of the early adopters coming on as a strong female, because we love showing that duality, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have to have a little bit of feminine and masculine
For sure.
to have the perfect, you know, even just makeup individually, right? So we love, you know, having you on board.
Thank you.
And we will continue to provide that value to you.
Thank you.
And I know through this podcast episode, more and more people will become involved and you know, see what Boundless is all about.
Yeah.
It's a strong word, boundless.
Boundless.
I think of the word boundless, and you know, I think of just being open and really without confinement and without bound, for a lack of better words.
Yeah.
What does boundless mean to you,
That's
and why
exactly
did you choose that?
it. You know, like living without boundaries in a good way, right? So, you know, breaking barriers and, you know, like going past your limits and what you think you can do. It's all about pushing yourself. That's what Boundless is. And actually, so a lot of people probably know by now I'm a Christian. And when I was, you know, coming up with the name a few years ago, there was a Bible verse that really stood out to me. It's Isaiah 40:31. And let's see if I can remember it off the top of my head. It's, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar up on wings like eagles. They will walk and not grow weary. They will run and not grow weary. But when I saw that verse, I don't know why the word boundless just came to my head. The word boundless came to my brain of like, you have no limits. You can do anything you put your mind to. And then I started working with the logo of like, I love America. You know, eagle was in this verse. And I just think the bald eagle is so, so powerful. So those two kind of got tied together. And I was like, Boundless Nutrition. We're going to do a jacked bald eagle. I want the name to be boundless. It's bold. It's powerful. It's one word, you know, like you look at it and you just feel empowered. That's how I feel. And then, you know, that verse just always stuck out to me. And that's really the meaning of Boundless Nutrition. You know, like I wanted to tie my faith into it as well. Of course, you know, I'm not pushing it on anyone, but it's all about planting seeds where you can, you know. So that is pretty much the meaning of Boundless.
I love it. And I love the shirt too.
Thank you. That's my favorite shirt. I was waiting a little bit to do it, and I was like, I'm going to just do it now, and I want to make it bold, and that's what I want to do with it.
Can you tell us about the journey from like competitive bodybuilding to owning Boundless? And I guess what inspired you to start your own business in the supplement industry?
Yeah. So high school, I quit all my sports, and I was always very competitive. I always wanted to be doing something. I quit all my sports in high school, and I started working at a little meathead gym in Pawling, New York called World Gym. It was literally called The Dungeon. All steel plates, you know, just competitors everywhere, powerlifters, bodybuilders. It was hardcore. So I started working there. And I just started training. Honestly, like I really didn't know much of what I was doing. I kind of just followed my dad around the gym for a while, did what he was doing, and, you know, like I saw what the gym owners were doing and just kind of like followed what they were doing. A very good friend of mine, he's actually one of my best friends to this day. I'll give him a shout out, Joe Libertella, amazing bodybuilding coach in Arizona. He was a member there, and he approached me. I was about 16 years old, and he was like, have you ever competed before? And I was like, what is that? I have no idea what that is. And he was like, you would crush it in a bodybuilding show. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, let's send it. Let's do it. I had no idea really what it was. He was showing me pictures of like girls and guys on stage in bathing suits. I was like, that's so weird, but I want to do it. It's so cool. So yeah, I was really young, and you know, he just dove me right into a prep. It was a 13-week prep. I was in high school, so I was walking around with a gallon of water, my tilapia and chicken, all that stuff. And yeah, I started prepping, and I did a few shows after that. And then I got really into the industry. And then there was a local supplement shop in my hometown of my high school called Boundless Nutrition. The owner, Anthony, I went in there, I asked for a job just because I wanted to learn more, and I was just engulfed in the industry. I loved it. I was obsessed. So I started working at his shop in high school. You know, then college came. I went to community college, and I just managed his shop for a couple of years. You know, like he was traveling a lot, so I had to take kind of his position and run the shop. So I really just learned a lot from, you know, being around a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people, guys and girls in the industry at a young age. And that's really where I learned my background. Then a lot of people don't know this. An opportunity came in a gym, brand new gym that was opening up at the time. And me and Anthony opened a shop together, actually. He said to me, like, you're doing so good at this. I could see you running your own thing. Love having you here, but like, you need to open your own thing. And the funny part was, like, I never had the idea of being an entrepreneur in my life. I actually wanted to become a cop. I never thought about running my own thing. And he put that idea in my head of like, hey, you're good at this. You can talk to people. You can sell. You're personable. You need to do something with this. So I just honestly didn't think too much about it, you know? I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's try it. You know, I didn't really let fear or anything get in the way, just because a lot of the people around me were entrepreneurs and it was just kind of the norm. And I was like, okay, let's try it. So we opened a store, different name. It was there probably about 5 months. And, you know, like, just long story short, like, we just had a lot of differences, which is okay. That happens in business. You don't know until you get involved with someone. And, you know, it just really wasn't the right location. It wasn't super busy. And what I originally visioned for the shop, like, it just wasn't what I thought it would be. You know, I wanted my own thing. I wanted a big storefront. It was in a gym. It was like a little shake bar. So we just agreed, you know, like, let's split. During that period of time, I was so depressed because I was like, you know, my first business I opened, you know, right out of college failed. That's how I viewed it then, you know. I viewed it as a failure and like, what do I do now? You know, type of thing. Like, I'm on my own, you know, like, I don't have a partner. So it was a really challenging time. But I did have some family go through a very tough period of time during that time where I had more free time. So I was able to help and show up for people how they needed me to. And I truly view that as like, God had to pull that business away from me so I can show up for other people in my life and give them all of me during that period of time. And I wouldn't change a thing about it. Right. So let's fast track a little bit. So after that, that was winter of 2020. I don't even want to say the year. I don't remember off the top of my head. We'll find it. Pretty recent. Yeah. It wasn't too long ago. So I just was like, you know what? Let's look for a storefront. So I started looking for a storefront in Westchester. I had no idea Pleasantville existed, honestly, until a friend of mine who's a cop in that town recommended it. And he's like, yo, check out Pleasantville. Like, it's a great town. I was like, what is Pleasantville? Like, so my real estate agent took me there. I saw the location and I was like, this is it. Like, this is it. You know, like, it's right next to a gym. You know, it just seemed like the perfect little Hallmark town, you know? So yeah, the build out took a while. And then I opened Boundless of November 2021. Yeah.
Beautiful story. Yeah. I had no idea. Obviously the first.
A lot of people don't know about that first location.
But isn't it interesting being able to look back and putting a purpose to it after the fact? But while you're going through it, you're like, what the heck is this?
While you're going through hell in those moments, you're like, God, why is this happening? And you just got to remind yourself in those moments, I will know why at some point. It could be in 5 years. It could be in a few months. It could be in 10 years. But I know he's going to show me why, you know?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
The way that you supplement though, like is a very unique, it's a unique experience. Like, you know, every time I've been in Boundless, people are always asking me questions and, you know, really taking it a little bit deeper than just like, oh yeah, you know, you need protein after you work out.
Sure.
Was supplementation something that you really found to be beneficial to your training regimen? Because the reason why I ask is a lot of people will be on protein.
Right.
A lot of people, you know, will take a pre-workout and then that's kind of where the buck stops.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But as you were coming up and training and competing, were you seeing the actual effects of, wow, proper supplementation really can get you to the next level?
For sure. And a lot of people are going to be surprised about the next thing I'm going to say, but your best supplement is whole foods. So I tell all of my customers that come in that are like, hey, Amanda, I want a fat burner or I want a pre-workout. I'm like, okay, what's your diet look like first? I'm not just going to sell you a fat burner. I mean, great. It could be such an easy sale, but it's always about people over profit, right? That's what I tell all my staff. Like, you want to actually fix the root of their issue. Okay. If you're not eating proper whole foods, you're not fueling yourself with enough carbohydrates, you know, before your sessions, you're going to feel like shit. You know, like pre-workouts are just going to give you quick caffeine. I mean, I always tell a lot of these young guys that come into the shop, like, hey guys, like, I'm going to help you save some money here, which I'm sure people would be surprised, but like, let's eat a good carbohydrate filled meal before you train. Let's have a good protein powder post-workout. Maybe throw some intra products in there, which is like your electrolytes to help with proper hydration. And you're going to have a great workout, and you're going to realize you don't even need that pre-workout, you know? So the most beneficial thing is your diet, okay? And then I tell like all my customers that come in, like pretty much my top 3 supplements are a great protein powder, just because most people really struggle with hitting their protein intake throughout the day. So it's just easy, you know? Like we have a protein powder right here. Yep. Throw it right in a shaker cup. That's it. A probiotic. Gut health is everything.
I've never taken one.
Okay,
I
well
have Crohn's disease too.
We're gonna hook you up. I got you. You're talking to me. Are you kidding?
That's crazy.
So gut health is the number one thing for fat loss, for really any goal you're trying to set with your health. Everything runs through our gut. So if we're not digesting and breaking down our foods properly and going to the bathroom every day, you know, we're gonna struggle with any goal we're trying to hit. So gut health is crucial. And honestly, I'm just a big fan right now of electrolytes. So water does not hydrate us, guys. I know that's shocking, but just drinking a gallon of water every day, that's not going to hydrate us. We need some salts in there too as well. So it's more simple than we think. I think we like to make it more complicated in our heads, but it's really more simple than we think. Yeah.
Now, from a business perspective, what has been the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome? You know, I guess even in leadership too, and leading a team like you have, you know, you have employees as well. I know that's always a difficult part of the business, but what would you say is the most difficult part of the business today?
At the end of the day, even on the days that you know, we're human, we all feel down, we all go through shit, right? Even on those days, you still have to show up at the end of the day and perform and do the best you can that day. Right? Like the business doesn't just stop running because we feel off, right? Am I allowed to curse on here? Are you going to bleep me out? Okay. One of my favorite sayings is fuck your mood, follow the plan. And that I try to apply that to everything I do every day, because it's like, you're not always going to feel 100%. You still have to show up at the end of the day. And, you know, just being totally transparent, I went through a very tough time this year. A lot of personal things. And I've had days where I was like, how am I going to do this? How am I going to show up tomorrow? How am I going to smile? How am I going to show up for other people and be there to support them through their journeys? And honestly, this business has saved my life and has helped me so much, because it's given me something every day to wake up. And I feel like when you're going through a tough time, this is how I operate. And you pour into other people, it fulfills you.
Life is service.
Yeah. Service, you know, like providing for others, helping others, like going through hard times in my life. Like it's taught me to give more people grace. And that is the theme of my year, is giving people grace, because we all want it. Right. So I honestly, to sum that up, like I would say just showing up on the days that you're really struggling, you know, and performing and being a leader to your team, because everyone's looking to you, you know, on what you're doing, and you need to lead. You know? So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, for somebody who's debating, you know, becoming an entrepreneur and they're in the fitness space and they like the supplement game.
Yeah.
Is it a go or a no for you? What would you tell them?
To open a brick and mortar supplement store. It's very hard right now. I'm not going to lie to you all. So it was different even like 3 years ago when I opened the store, you know, anyone can do it if you put people first. Because I tell my staff at the end of the day, like anyone could go on Amazon. They can go directly to these supplement companies' websites. But the purpose of Boundless and my goal of Boundless is to create an experience. And no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're selling, you want to make sure you're selling an experience, right? People come in there because they like how they feel. They like to come and they like to talk to my staff. You know, we make them feel welcome. You know, you're coming in there, you're getting education on products, you're getting advice, you know, you're going to come in, you're going to grab a shake, a meal, hang out, you know, it's all about an experience and creating a feeling and an atmosphere, because anyone, like I said, can go buy online, but they want to come in because they want to support us.
That makes
you know,
sense. Yep.
So whatever you're doing, my best advice is make sure you create an experience for people. You know?
I love that.
Yeah.
What motivates you to push your physical limits? Right? You're a national level, and explain that. What is a national level competitive power lifter?
I know it sounds like a lot of jumbo.
No, so, it sounds good.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
So I've been powerlifting. I got into powerlifting. Actually, I was powerlifting when I was competing in bodybuilding, and my coach would yell at me like, Amanda, like, if you want to be a bikini competitor, you can't deadlift like this. And I was like, okay, F that. I don't want to do this anymore. I just always love the feeling of being strong and, you know, being a woman and going in the gym and just lifting heavy ass weight. It just always made me feel confident. It gave me a lot of confidence too. It made me feel empowered. So with powerlifting, so how it works is I competed at USA Powerlifting Nationals in Vegas 2 years ago. You have to qualify to get there. So I just actually competed last weekend. It was a fun local gym meet.
Took home some medal.
Yeah, a little bit of medal. Yeah, that's all right. That's what we do. We show up, we win. So yeah, I competed last weekend, the first time in 2 years. Honestly, just with the business, the business consumes me at times, you know, where if I'm training for something, I want to make sure I can put my all in and give my all to something. So this year I just got the itch to compete again, you know, being around a lot of competitors and, you know, really good influences in my life. And I was like, I'm back, you know? So my next one is in March. So that is New York State Champs. You have to qualify at that one to see if you make it to nationals or not. So it's really just like a title. Like, you know, you go to nationals, you compete there. So that's really what it is.
Yeah, I love your confidence.
Thank you.
It you know, spoke to me from day one.
Yeah.
You can, I gravitate towards very confident people.
Yeah.
Both male and females.
Agreed.
Because, you know, I'm just kind of the same way.
Yeah.
But have you dealt with a lot of, I guess, men specifically? I could definitely see women being intimidated by you, but men being intimidated along the way?
I don't see it, but other people see it.
Well, because you know, you pull up in a bigger truck than most men have, right? You're stepping out. You're stronger than a lot of men. You're deadlifting more weight than men. You're into guns and cigars.
Right.
Like it's not the typical, you know. But then you're very ladylike.
Yes.
So like
it's a balance, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to balance that masculine and feminine
energy.
energy.
Have you dealt with that at all in life?
Yeah, I definitely have. Especially when I opened my first store by myself. You know, a lot of these sales reps would call the shop and they'd be like, hey, like looking for the owner. I'd be like, hey, it's me. And they're like, what? Or they come in and they shake my hand and the handshake they give me is like, I'm like, give me a real handshake, bro. Come on. But yeah, I've dealt with that for a period of time. But honestly, like not as much as you would think. You know, a lot of the men I work with, pretty much all the men I work with are very respectful. You know, and it's really just about how I carry myself, right? With them in that space too as well.
And being comfortable in your own skin.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it helps too. I grew up with all boys. I mean, you know, I grew up shooting guns and smoking cigars with my father. So these things are just all kind of like second nature to me.
Very
you know what
cool.
I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you looking to elevate your brand with captivating visuals and immersive sound? Look no further than the home of the No Snooze podcast, Kai Visions Productions, your go-to destination for cutting-edge audio and video production. At Kai Visions, we don't just create content, we create experiences that leave a lasting impact. From podcasts, YouTube variety shows, sleek corporate videos, to attention-grabbing promotional campaigns, our team of experts is dedicated to turning your vision into reality. Choose Kai Visions for a production experience like no other. It's time to make your brand known. Contact us today at kaivisions@gmail.com or find us on Instagram at Kai Visions. Kai Visions Productions, where audio-visual excellence meets innovation. Now, back to the epi. With the guns and cigars, you mentioned that they like kind of help you unwind, right?
Yeah.
I know. What does that mean to you? Yeah, like how do you? So again, I can relate to the cigar game, right?
Yep.
So I really took a lot of pride in cigars for years.
Yeah.
Right after high school, I became obsessed. I actually joined Doc James Cigar Lounge.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Member over at Mom's Cigar. It was always just a thing that like I wanted to be involved in, and I also saw like a benefit in terms of like business.
Yeah.
But recently, you know, I stopped drinking in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And my
whiskey
passion,
and cigars
my passion, and I was a big Padron and Macallan guy.
Right.
Like I was smoking the best, drinking the best, and I would be able to have my cigars with coffee, and I've done that a lot as well. But since I've stopped drinking, I've noticed that my passion for cigars have kind of like, you know, just gone away, which is fine.
I could see that.
But how do guns and cigars like allow you to unwind?
Yeah, so let's start with the cigars.
I
I really don't drink anymore either. not knocking it.
Why?
It just,
Can I
it
ask why?
really doesn't
serve you.
It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't align with my values. Like, why am I going to go out and have a drink after I, hit a 2-hour workout and, I eat healthy all day? What is that doing for me? And also like tying my faith, it doesn't bring me closer to the Lord. And right now in my life, I want to do everything I can that brings me closer in my faith and makes me better. And that's just poison. It's taking away from me. I don't care what people say. It's poison. You're putting poison into your body. I always like to feel on. I always like to feel alert. When I go to these networking events, like I used to have a drink here and there. I never had a problem with drinking, but it's just a casual drinker, and I don't like anything to have power over me. And when I started to notice, like, wait, I really don't care about this drink. Why am I having it? Then I was like, I don't need it. I'm done. So people probably see me at, I'll give them a shout out, Tony Peck's events. I'll pull up and rip open one of my Element packs in a water with my cigar. All my friends always record it. They think it's the funniest thing. So funny. It can go with cigars. But yeah, it just doesn't serve me, and I don't want to give energy to anything that doesn't serve me in my life. But with the cigars, let's go to that. Yep. So cigars are big for me in business because, it brings people together. I've had a lot of amazing conversations with people around cigars. And honestly, when I think of cigars, I just think of my family. I think of my father and my brothers because it's something, over the past few years that like we just will sit out. I'll go to my parents' house. We'll sit out on the back porch and just smoke a cigar and have amazing conversations. And they do relax you. They do lower your cortisol, which is huge. I mean, you need that as a business owner. So I just really associate it with like family and, just getting closer to my father and spending that quality time with him. It's just sharing an experience with him, which is something we both love. So, and yeah, with the shooting. So my brother who's in the military got me really into guns at a young age. I think my birthday gift when I was like 16 was like a shotgun, which is amazing. So like with shooting, I know it sounds contradicting, but it calms me down. It relaxes me. Because during that period of time when you're focused on hitting a target, like that's all you're focused on. You got to calm your breath down. You got to calm your body down, to be focused to shoot and hit something. So, and it's not the gym. It's not my business. It's something completely different. Right. So I get enjoyment out of both of them.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like tattoos. Everyone has a story behind tattoos. And I know because of my experience with cigars specifically, that it means something to people who are invested and do smoke. Yeah. So I was just curious about that.
Yeah.
You mentioned your family a couple times and growing up with 3 older brothers, 2 of whom have special needs.
Yeah.
How did your family dynamic shape your views on hard work, perseverance, becoming the woman that you are today?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out. Honestly, it's all my parents, like seeing my parents be so patient with my brothers and, like my mom, like both my parents, they've worked their whole life, and they've grinded and to make us all have a great life. And I can't imagine, I still have these conversations with them. Like, I can't imagine what you guys have gone through, like your first 2 children have special needs, and they are so patient and kind. And I really feel like I learned a lot of love and patience from my mother because it's like no matter what happened, she was always calm. She would never get upset. She was always calm. She would handle stress so well. She was working 2 jobs at a time. She also worked in a group home for disabled adults. Wow. So my mom just has a heart of gold. And that's really where I feel like I learned to have grace for other people and love. And it was from my mother. And my father, he, same thing, like just so patient and just would do anything for his family. And like, my heart goes out to them because, it wasn't easy growing up. And, for me and my other brother, the one, Tom, who's in the military, we're the younger siblings of the household, but we always felt like the older siblings. So we kind of grew up quick. Right. Because, we're the younger siblings. But like if I heard someone was picking on one of my older brothers in the high school, like we'd go over to the high school and be like, yo, what are you doing? Like, like we were always very protective over them and, kind of like they're their parents in a way. So that definitely like made me grow up a little quicker.
Were they born with special needs, your brothers? So, are they twins? Or
no, actually a year apart. Okay. Yeah, a year and a half apart. Both amazing men. Like I love them to death. I would do anything for them. That's amazing. My older brother, he has a learning disability, Tourette's, and then my other brother, Michael, he has autism. But just amazing humans, you know, and like just seeing them work through problems. It's like, wow, like if they can do that, I could do that. You know what I mean? And it's just, my family is very close to me and very important to me. And I'm so grateful that my parents like really instilled that in me at a young age, how important family is, and family always sticks together. You know, you always show up for your family. You always help your family. Yeah.
And 38 years of marriage.
Yeah. God bless them.
Shout out to your parents.
Yeah. Shout out to them.
Absolutely. And they did done a wonderful job with you. And I'm sure your other siblings as well.
Yeah.
What pushed your other brother into the military?
Me and him are very similar. I feel like I got a lot of my traits from him, actually. I always really looked up to him. We're 2 years apart. He is like my best friend. I love him to death. It was kind of a surprise, honestly.
Really?
Like, he was always growing up. He was always the more quiet one. I was always the loud, obnoxious one, like coming in his room, trying to play with him and his friends on Xbox. And he would be like, Amanda, get out. Like, you're annoying. But yeah, he just always really put his head down in silence and had a great work ethic. Insanely smart in school, insanely smart. Just like one day he was like, Mom and Dad, I want to go in the military. And they were like, what? So he went in the Marines right out of high school at 18. I remember coming to see the recruiter pick up my brother to go to boot camp, and it was so sad, you know, because I was like, what's going to go on? I want to see my brother again. You know, I didn't really know much about it. So he went in the Marines at 18. And for a period of time when I was in high school, I was like, that's really cool.
You're like, I'm going to do this too.
I want to do it too. So literally my senior year, I kind of was talking to recruiters and stuff like that. And I was like, I might want to join the Marines like my brother. And then...
Are there female Marines?
There are, but not a lot.
I was going to say, wow, now that I'm asking that question, I really am not too privy.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
No.
I remember going down to his base and talking to some women, and they're like, it's tough, but you could do it. But I feel like I really got a lot of my work ethic from him.
And what's his name?
Tom. Yeah, his physical work ethic and, you know, to grind and push through things. It's really special because we have a lot of letters that we wrote back and forth to each other when he was in boot camp and when he was deployed, and I still have those. And like, he would explain to me about like all the challenging things he was going through, and I'm like, wow, like if you can do that, I can go through hard things too, you know? So he really, I feel like, was a big impact on my, you know, pushing yourself physically and mentally in my life. And I'm grateful for him to this day for that. Yeah.
Well, shout out to Tom. And Tom, thank you very much for your service, my brother.
Now he's a paratrooper in the Army. He jumps out of planes for a living.
Light work.
Yeah, light work every day. Yeah.
It's so funny. You know, the military for me is one of those things that it's like, I wish.
Yeah.
I wish.
You would have crushed it.
You know, I think I would have. I really do.
I could have seen you as like a drill instructor. Yelling at people. I've seen that before.
I really do think that I could have made a great career for myself. Yeah. But it was never like a real serious thing for me. And it wasn't until like I got into like personal professional development that I really started reading about, you know, a lot of military personnel and, you know, kind of what it is that they're about. But I got my first taste, you know, really in college where I had a young coach, Pat Scanlon, that like literally we just did unit trainings. Okay. And it was military style, 4 a.m.
Well, now you're doing that on Sundays at the sale house.
You know, like, and now it's become like that type of stuff is really enjoyable. Yeah. And even back then, like there was something about me that when we would have 4 a.m. unit trainings, everyone would be like, oh, and I was knocking on everyone's door at 3:40.
You were ready to go.
Waking everybody
ready to roll.
up, putting eye black on my face, like, you know, really like getting after it. Yeah. So I'm curious, you know, that's one of those things that I'll never know. Yeah. You know, but it's definitely in the back of my mind, and I'm like, wow, like if I could do things differently, I think that I would have enlisted in maybe some level of military for sure. Yeah. Yeah. What does living authentically mean to you? And how do you practice that, I guess, both in and out of the gym? Yeah. And authenticity is just one of those things these days that I'm very focused on. Right. You know, for a long time, I was not my authentic self. I would try to portray certain things that I wanted to portray. Whereas now I'm just like, open book, here you go, take it, leave it. Agreed. You like me, you don't like me. It is what it is, but respect me. Yeah. So what is living authentically? Living authentically to me is, you know, just being so true to myself and running to the beat of my own drum and no one else's. I feel like
honestly, like even since high school, I was just always kind of, everyone was going this way. I wanted to go this way. I didn't want to be like anybody else, you know? In high school, I was looked at as like the weird girl walking around with her gallon of water, you know, doing a bodybuilding show.
Did you have cowboy boots on at that time?
I probably did. Yeah.
Okay.
I probably got made fun of. Yeah, it's just really, you know, listening to yourself, you know, not asking all your friends for opinions and what they think on things, and really listening to yourself on what your heart and your mind is telling you, and going with that, and trusting yourself. Trusting yourself, I think, is the best thing you can learn. You know, trusting yourself is huge. I think a lot of people struggle with that. And that's why a lot of people follow other people and just say, oh, I'm just going to do this because this person said it's okay. Well, how do you really feel about it? You know, like, get alone with yourself, be alone with your thoughts, and really listen to yourself, you know, because I can't imagine waking up every day and not being myself. You know, we always laugh about it at the shop because like we have so much fun every day, me and my staff, and like some of the things we post, we're like, is this so too jokey? Is this, and we're like, you know what? This is who we are. This is who I am. Like, what you see is what you get. And like, if you don't like it, that's it, you know? So I honestly, it's one of the most important things to me is being authentic to myself, you know, like listening to what are my important values and sticking to them, you know, and not running to the beat of someone else's drum.
Right.
Yeah.
How would you encourage somebody who's kind of struggling to live authentically? I think personally it's, you know, finding, I do think you have to find like a routine that you become comfortable with, and whether
Agreed.
that's in the gym or not, you know, but like finding the things that you actually like doing and doing them, because a lot of people, you know, they don't live authentically.
No.
And it's sad because, you know, you end up wasting years of your life.
Yeah.
So how would you encourage somebody who's trying to live more
I mean, going back to routines, I start my day with, you know, things that bring me joy, things that bring my brain peace, things that bring me to my body, and help me get ready for my day, to be the best version of myself I can that day. And like, for me, that looks like waking up in the morning, reading, you know, my scripture, reading one of my Bible plans, you know, going to the gym. Actually, like the first like 20 minutes of my workout is completely silent, or it's worship music, you know, really just, you know, being in tune with my thoughts that day and how I feel, and just getting closer to myself in that way. Like I said, like being alone is actually good. Being alone with your thoughts, you know, being silent with yourself, really listening. Do I really enjoy doing these things? Do I really enjoy going to these places and seeing these people? Or am I just doing it to please someone, you know? And the things that you say no to, no, I don't enjoy, cut them out of your life, right? I'm not saying cut everyone out of your life, but like really like listen to yourself, ask yourself these questions, like, do they bring me joy? Do they make me better as a person? You know? And if those are a no, get rid of them. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, being quiet and being still is hard.
Very hard.
It's very hard for a lot of people. It's hard for me. It's still hard for me.
Yeah,
There's times
me too.
that like, you know, I still lean into just throwing on worship music because I can't stay in my own thoughts for a while, you know, if I'm feeling negative. And now I don't feel that there's a reason for me to, you know, sit in those negative thoughts. Yeah. Because they are just thoughts. Exactly. You know, and the reality is we have hundreds and thousands of negative thoughts every day, just subconsciously. Yeah. But, you know, finding the things that you actually enjoy doing, especially during a holiday season like this, really want to just encourage everybody to really just live authentically moving into 2025.
Right. I always say, like, you know, we can change the outlook on our life and how we feel, you know, like, to be more positive, like we have to look for things in every day. I say this to everyone, all my friends, like we can find joy in little things throughout the day, right? Like there's joy in waking up and being able to have an extra 10 minutes to have your cup of coffee in the day, read some scripture, call a friend. Like those little things bring you joy. You know, I think happiness isn't a permanent feeling. Happiness is a state of mind. You know, we're not always going to feel super happy all the time, but those little moments of joy throughout the day help bring us to that happier feeling. Absolutely. You know, and we got to look for those moments, you know, or even just like driving by a farm, you know, seeing a beautiful sunset, you know, like those little pockets of joy help just shift our overall mindset. And they're so important. And we all need to be mindful of those and look for those moments throughout the day because they're always there, you know.
I want to shift to another word that's important to me, integrity.
Yeah.
And it seems to be at the core of your personal philosophy.
Yeah.
How do you approach maintaining integrity, I guess, in both business and in your personal life, especially when you're faced with, just difficulties? And I could see in the supplement industry specifically when it comes to integrity, I'm sure there's times that you can be price gouging people or just the supplement industry itself. So how do you focus on just being a person of integrity? And I love what you said before about even the supplement game and, people who are supplementing. The most important supplement is whole foods.
Yeah.
That's something you never hear.
Yeah.
Right? It's hey, let me sell you this creatine. Let me, upcharge you here. Let me upcharge you there.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about integrity.
Yeah, it's just being honest with people. That's it. How would I want to be treated? How would I want someone to talk to me? And even let me go into my business relationships for a moment. This industry is a tough industry. I've met a lot of amazing people, which I only work with great people. I kind of keep my circle just people that I have respect for and that have respect for me, because there's always people that are going to try to bring you down and hurt you. I've experienced it with this industry. I've experienced other stores calling companies to try not to sell to me. And, if you always treat people right, for the most part in this industry with sales reps and people that work with you, they're going to have your back. And I've had companies call me, hey, Amanda, I just want to let you know, this store tried to call me and tell me not to sell to you, and it's because I treat them with respect. And they're going to treat it with me back. Integrity is huge for me. I won't work with you if I don't respect you. I don't care how much money you might bring me or bring my store. Or same with clients, customers, if you treat my staff like crap, I don't care how much money you're spending in here. I don't even want you to have the opportunity to be in here and shop here, so that's huge with me.
Yeah.
I think it should be with everyone, but yeah,
unfortunately, it's not.
Unfortunately, it's not. Yeah, that's why this industry is very enjoyable for me because I pick who I want to work with and who I don't, so I don't really deal with a lot of drama on that end with it. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about leadership.
Yeah.
Right. I'm always curious about hearing people, who operate teams, whether they're small teams or large teams. What's your way of life in terms of leadership, and how do you lead others?
Yeah. Leading others is I've learned a lot over the past few years, and when I look back about years ago, if as a little girl, if you were to tell me oh, you'd be running your own business, I'd be like, what? That's crazy. I feel like it all just comes down to respect too as well. Treat your staff as you would want to be treated, with respect. I don't talk down to anyone, I'm right there in the fire with them too as well. And I'm working the shop too as well. I'm not letting them have all the responsibility on them. But I'm going to shout out my girl, Christina, for a second. She's been helping me out at the shop for a while. Great friend of mine. But it's all about delegating too as well, because you have to find those areas where people are strong and let them shine in those areas. Don't micromanage, let people shine in those areas they're strong in, because it's only going to benefit you. Something I'm not good at, why am I going to do if one of my girls is amazing at? Let her feel good, let her shine in that space, and make sure you acknowledge people too as well. Acknowledging people, I believe, is huge, and it makes them want to show up, and creating a positive work environment and atmosphere. It's all about culture, creating a great culture for people to show up in. And, I feel like that is a big reason why a lot of people will respect you, if they like the environment they're in and they see you're creating a great culture,
Love that.
Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Whitaker Garage Doors, your one-stop shop for all things garage doors, proudly based in Peekskill, New York. Your home is a direct reflection of your personal style. And let's face it, your garage doors are the first thing people see when they pull up your driveway. Whether you're looking for the timeless charm of a classic carriage house door or the clean, sleek look of a basic wood finish, Whitaker Garage Doors offers traditional options for every taste and budget. I can personally vouch for their incredible service. When I had my own garage doors done, I was blown away by their timeliness, professionalism, and overall respect for their clients. Jonathan, Cassara, and their entire team are top-notch, and they really go the extra mile to ensure you're happy with the final result. So if you're in the market for a new garage door or need some repairs, give them a call or find them on Instagram at Whitaker_doors. Don't forget to tell them you're a friend of Dave's over at the No Snooze podcast. Whitaker Doors. You won't regret it. Now, back to the Epi. Talk to me about someone who wants to get into supplements and using them.
Yeah.
For somebody, I guess, looking to live a balanced, fulfilling life in terms of like health and wellness, what is the base level stack of supplements? Because again, I think a lot of people, I think they do utilize supplements to some level, but the majority of people really aren't doing it with intention.
Right.
So what would be, a couple pieces of advice, and where would you kind of steer me if I was
I want to go back to the beginning a little bit, because I did list off a few supplements that I think are very beneficial.
Yep.
Of course, whole foods, right? Eating a whole food diet. Protein powder is beneficial pretty much for everyone. A good quality, maybe like a grass-fed whey. Can
I ask you this?
Yeah.
And this is specific to me.
Yeah.
Why do some whey proteins not respond well at all with my stomach?
Okay. How do you do with dairy?
Not good at all.
Okay.
I'm lactose intolerant, so there you go.
So you would want to go with something called a whey protein isolate.
Where
isolates are pretty much the best quality whey protein you can get. Think of top tier. So they're going to have either little lactose or none at all. So lactose is usually what upsets people's stomachs in protein. So having a whey isolate without the lactose is really going to be beneficial for you. The one I brought you today, the Transparent Labs, that's a really good one for you. So we're going to be on our game.
There we go.
Yeah. So that's important. There's so many different types of protein. And that's why I tell people, come by. We have a team full of people that want to help you, because it can be intimidating and overwhelming. I remember when I was a teenager, the first time walking into a supplement shop, I was like, oh, I don't belong here. It's scary. So I would say a good protein powder, a great probiotic or greens product to help with your gut health. And then honestly, like I said, I'm huge on the hydration products right now, because most people, it's crazy, they don't even drink 20 ounces of water a day.
That's crazy.
So a good hydration product like electrolytes help you keep you properly hydrated. And all my people that complain about low energy, it's usually because you're properly not hydrated and you're over caffeinated. So it's actually not a pre-workout, surprisingly. That's what I think most people thought I would say. But yeah, it's more simple than we think. Most of us don't need tons of vitamins. I'm big on blood work. I tell all my customers, hey, if you're having a health issue, go get your labs done. Go to a hormone specialist and see what's really going on. Supplements are great, but if we're just throwing tons of supplements at our bodies, what are we really doing?
Yeah. I work with a lot of men, and even in the coaching space, I provide a level of, health and wellness in terms of guidance and proper nutrition and supplementation. But what I see is a huge correlation of men who are feeling the negative thoughts, who are tired, who are lethargic, definitely low T, but also vitamin D.
Vitamin D is huge.
Right?
Yeah.
And that was something even, CV and I have spoken at length.
Yeah.
And that was a supplement I was telling him, dude, you really got to look into this. And sure enough, he went to get his labs done, and the doctor was like you were extremely low, right?
A lot of men are.
And he changed that one thing and immediately started to feel a shift in just in mood.
Right.
But it's one of those supplements that if you don't need it, you just don't need it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting, but it's a cheap supplement that definitely, if you're feeling that you are doing all the right things and your mood is not where it needs to be, and you're feeling that low back pain even, which is something that I was having too.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was extremely low in vitamin D.
Yeah.
And I never thought that back pain would be attached to low vitamin D.
And now you take it and you feel great.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's amazing.
But it's one of those things, apparently.
Yeah.
Speaking to my doctor, it's you're either low and really, really need it, or your body just kind of responds without it.
That's why you got to do your blood work. I work very closely with a good friend of mine. Her name's Nicole. She owns a practice in White Plains, Infinite You Wellness. I'm gonna give her a shout out.
Absolutely.
She's awesome. And I talk to a lot of men, and they'll complain of symptoms of low energy, low mood, feeling so depressed, can't get gains in the gym, and they're doing all the right things. And I'm like, well, have you guys got your hormones checked? And they're like, no. And then they'll go and get their hormones checked, their test levels and everything. Their test is so low. And that's a huge thing for men too as well. If your levels are so low, you're going to feel depressed. You're not going to get gains in the gym. You're going to feel low energy. And like making sure you have a doctor who's prescribing you right amounts is not a bad thing. You know, your body produces it.
Right.
So I recommend a lot of people to go see Nicole in White Plains because she runs an amazing practice. She's so smart. She'll run all your blood work and everything too as well to make sure you're getting what your body needs.
That's
because
very
we do
cool.
sell test boosters and stuff like that. But those,
what would you say? Okay, talk to me about that a little
so
bit.
I do sell those. So they're made up of like natural herbs and stuff like that. But you know, some people just need the real thing. Like if your body is producing such a low amount, you just need the real thing. You need to go to a doctor, and like these boosters can raise you to a higher amount for sure. I've seen it. I've seen customers come in with blood work before and after with certain test boosters I sell at the shop, completely legal. But like it just gets to a point with certain people where they need someone to take over and they just need the real thing.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's very common, especially with the nutrients in our foods today. Like it's just not the same anymore, you know, and that really depletes people's levels, and the stress too. High stress levels depletes your test levels too as well. So
yeah, the best way to explain testosterone is if you are low, you can continue living and feeling like a boy, or you can get on a proper testosterone dose, and start living like a man.
Amen.
it's very
and
true.
I could only talk on this because I have so many men that come in and openly talk to me about this stuff because it all goes hand in hand.
Yep,
you know,
of course.
it's check your hormones, everyone. Yeah.
What are some goals for you in 2025 and beyond, both personally and professionally?
Yeah. So I do have some things in the works with Boundless, expanding a little bit. I don't want to say too much right now, but just make sure you guys stay tuned. There's some other business ventures I want to get into that's not in the supplement space. I don't want to talk too much on it right now, though.
Okay, all right. I'll put you on the spot.
We'll talk soon.
Okay.
So that's exciting. And then, personally, it's really just about like, self-development, growing in my faith more this year, really, spending a lot more time and devoting a lot more time with God, and, getting back into powerlifting full swing.
Wow.
So hopefully going to nationals in Georgia end of June. So yeah, it's going to be a fun year of training for me.
Very cool. You mentioned personal development.
Yeah.
Right? Where do you want to get better in your own life? Like where are you focused on like really improving? I could definitely relate to the faith thing for me as well. But something I've been, pretty open about is just leaning more into love and humility.
Yeah, I agree.
For 2025, and again, when I say that, I don't mean that I'm not like a loving and humble human being, but let's be honest, there's plenty of people in the world who are a little bit more humble than Dave Regina. But, I mean humility more in a way of just living.
Yeah.
I think there's too many times in my life where I'm, I guess, just focused on like getting the job done, and it's just business. And
right,
it's
not
just
being
like,
present.
Yeah,
that's what I struggle with too. I really struggle with that too, and I think it's because we have so much on our plates as like entrepreneurs, and sometimes it's hard to be present in the moment. And that's a goal of mine this year: is being more present with the people you're with, the things you're doing, being more mindful. My best friend said to me a few weeks ago that she thinks my theme of this year was learning to surrender. And by that, I mean, I'm a control freak. I think every entrepreneur is. You try to control every variable in your life, and you realize at the end of the day, like, it's really not on you. It's really in God's hands. And obviously we have to make steps to do certain things too as well. It's not just all on God, but like really just kind of like telling yourself like, you're going to be okay. Things are going to work out how they're supposed to. Obviously, you still got to apply yourself and put in the work, but just not trying to control everything and surrendering to God. And that's my theme of this year is that and being more present.
I like that.
What's
your faith-based routine look like?
Yeah.
For me, I wake up, the first thing I do is I put 30 minutes of Joel Osteen in my ear.
Love
Some
it.
people think he's corny.
Yeah.
I think he's the man. I laugh at all his corny jokes. He's
my
great.
best friend Olivia loves him too.
Oh,
she loves him.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
And then I listen to a little bit of worship, and then I
Nice.
read just, maybe 2 to 4 pages of
That's great.
my Bible.
Yeah.
And then throughout the day, I constantly listen to Jireh.
That's our song. We love that song.
That is, even my daughter, like, Katie and I will wake up on a Saturday morning, and my daughter loves when she makes breakfast.
Yeah.
And now it's to the point that she's like, can you put on Gyra too?
I love that.
And we blast Gyra.
That's so
and we
awesome.
just listen.
Like you're raising her that way.
Yeah, I mean,
it's awesome.
it's not hard, so I can't really take credit because it's something that I'm so passionate about in my own life. So I'm really just doing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's just a part of your routine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not really doing anything for my daughter per se. She just happens to pick
She's
up.
observing.
She's observing, but
Yeah.
also like we did find some, children's biblical songs where they've turned like. They made it like superhero themed, and she puts it on and she dances to it and she loves it.
Yeah.
But one of her favorite sayings these days is "Have no fear, God is here."
I love that.
And it's very
She's an
simple,
angel.
and she prays every day because it's something that we do in the household as well. So for you, what does the routine look like?
Yeah.
Like how do you? And I'm always interested because I want to get better. Like Katie's at another level.
Yeah.
This chick can read her Bible for an hour and a half. I'm like, babe, we gotta come on. Like this is too much.
She is. When I met her, she's a true woman of God. It shines through her. It really does. I noticed that right when I met her. One thing I just want to add in. A lot of people always ask me, like, I feel like a lot of people get wrapped up around the idea of like, how do I pray? How do I talk to God? And that looks different for everyone. Like you talk to him like you talk to a friend. That's it. Like there's no proper way to pray. Like there's no right or wrong. Just talk to him like you talk to a friend. Ask him for help. Ask him to come into your life and lead you how he wants to. That's a prayer I say every day. God, come into my life and like help get whatever you want through
Use
to
me
me.
as a vessel.
Use me as a vessel every day. But I mean, like I grew up Catholic. My parents raised me Catholic.
Me too.
Honestly, never really had a connection my whole life. A friend of mine brought me to a Christian church about 6 years ago. I remember walking in there feeling intimidated. It's a very different experience. I remember just hysterical crying during the worship. Like, wow, something took over me. I just felt chills. I felt empowered. I felt very emotional. I've never experienced something like this before, and I was hooked. And I just fell in love. Like I fell in love with worship. I fell in love with the music, and I didn't really know too much back then. And it just takes years of, reading, of showing up, and just like it does with a workout, right? Talking to God every day. But I found an amazing church this year called the Life Church New York. Pastor Wayne Francis. He's amazing, you guys. Shout out to him.
I still gotta come.
Oh, you guys gotta come.
Still
Come on.
have to come.
They sing Gyra there too. You lose your mind.
Oh my God.
The worship is amazing. You feel like you're at a concert. But I mean, I found that church during a very tough period of time in my life this year, and it helped me so much. And I go every Sunday. I'll go with my parents on Sundays. We love it. It's just a great community. And, you don't have to go to church to be connected to God, and believe in God. Of course you don't, but it just provides community. And I think community is so important, and worshiping in the Lord's house is very, very important if you want to grow spiritually. I think it's nice to find a church that you do enjoy, that you like, and it's very important to me. So that's on Sundays, but it's really about how you live the next few days of the week, right? Like you can go to church and be a great person in church, but if you're cursing people out, treating people like shit, and not giving grace to other people throughout the week, what are you doing? Like God's not happy with that. It's really about how you live your life the other few days. And like we all sin, right? We all don't live perfectly, and that's why, Jesus died for us for our sins, right? But it's really just about showing up daily and reading the scripture daily, filling your brain with scripture daily, and that's going to help you grow. And reading the word is just truly so powerful. So
what kind of what Bible are you reading?
So I'm a big fan of the Bible app, actually. I have a physical Bible. I actually like to read that at night.
Okay. That doesn't put you to sleep immediately?
It does. Yeah. It does at night.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
The whole goal. I want to go to bed reading scripture because it just kind of puts my mind into a good state before I fall asleep. In the morning, I like to start my day with the Bible app. The reason is because you can do certain plans on this app. So like you can type in like, are you feeling like depressed? Are you, grieving? Are you going through something specific? You can type it in and it'll give you specific plans based on that topic. So it'll give you like a devotional, and then it'll give you scripture too as well. So I think the Bible app's a really cool thing for people just getting started in reading for the first time, because it kind of guides you And you could do like a 7-day plan, a 2-week plan, and you could do it with friends. I've done it. Me and my best friend do a plan like every week together.
Very cool.
So it's really about, you know, just sticking with it. And, you know, I think it's actually harder to stick with it during times where you feel like everything's going great. For me, it's easier to feel connected to God when I'm going through harder times. But it's just about sticking with it all the time, you know, talking to God all day. I talk to him all day in my car, you know.
Me too.
So yeah, it's important.
It's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, you know, and I never, even with these podcasts, like I don't ever mean to like go off on a, you know, tangent like that, but it just happened. Like,
it just happened.
And it's something that we're both very passionate about.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know that God has done incredible things in my life and doing the same in yours.
Yeah, amen.
Talk to me a little bit about your process to just overcome adversity, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in business, whether it's a tough day.
Yeah.
What's your focus on how you know, strategically move through that negative feeling?
Yeah, it's just about keep on moving. You know, like don't change your day, don't change your routine, still show up to everything you have to do. You know, the times where in the past where I would sulk and, you know, just like have a cry me day, like nothing gets done. I don't feel better. You know, it's just about keeping on moving, you know, and sticking to your routine. That's why routine is so important, and staying positive and staying on a good path. You know, let's go back to fuck your mood, follow the plan.
I love that.
It's so true because, you know, you can't go by your mood. You can't go by your emotions all the time. You have to go by your brain and the things that you have to do. You know, if we're led by emotion all the time, we'd all be messes, you know, so we can't really feed into those emotions too much, you know.
And do you have a process for reflection at all in your life?
Yeah.
And I'm asking this because I really don't. And it's something that, like, at the end of the year, I typically do. I reflect.
This is
back
around
on
the time,
year.
yeah.
And I do something. You know, I actually take a ton of pictures in
Yeah.
my phone. I do that.
Yeah.
So I actually go back, and I'll go back to January, and like I'll kind of like start reflecting on my year that way.
Yeah.
And it's been very helpful the past couple of years that I've done it, because I'm like, wow, like, you know, you've done so much. You've spent a lot of great time with family and friends, and the memories, and looking at 20 events with Ace, like sitting back and being like, oh wow, we did 40 podcasts this
we
year.
Forget.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So do you have a process, I guess, for either daily reflection or looking back at your year, or is that something that like you're interested in?
It's something I'm interested in. I actually struggle with that too, because, you know, like you'll do so much, like your days are stacked, right? You'll have events like back to back every weekend, and it's like, you know, you're with amazing people, you're impacting other people, like you're impacting yourself. And it's like, when you're just going through it, you're just going through it. And I struggle with taking the time to realize, like, okay, like you should be proud of this, you know, like you should reflect on this, be proud of this. Even competing this weekend, you know, like it was just a blur. And like my parents are like, oh, I'm so proud of you, or like your best friend. And it's like, it's almost like sometimes it doesn't feel real. You know what I mean? Like, it's like you really gotta take it in. And again, that goes hand in hand with me being more present in the moment. I think that ties together of like, if I just take more time to be present and reflect on like all the good that has happened, you know, it's important to do that, you know? So that is something I need to work on too as well. I agree.
I don't know why it just kind of came up randomly.
Yeah.
What are you most proud of in your life thus far? Tough question for entrepreneurs.
That is a very tough question.
Very tough question, because even when I get asked that, I'm like, oh.
Yeah. That's really hard, Dave. You just threw that out. I would say the first thing that comes to my mind right now is the community that I've built. And I don't want to say I, because it's not just me, it's God. And it's the people around me too as well that helped make it happen. You know, like, let me go back to the people over profit. Like, you know, my store wouldn't be anything if it wasn't for those people in there, you know, and the amazing conversations I have with these people and the connections I've built and relationships I've built. I think I'm really just proud of like just the amount of relationships I've built and amazing people in my life at this point. Like I was saying the other day to one of my girls at the shop, like I feel so grateful and I feel so lucky that I have people I can go to and confide in and talk to about things. And like that show up for me, that believe in me. And that is just huge to me. When I reflected on that the other day of like, wow, like people believe in me, you know, and like people want to be here. People want to work here. People want to be a part of what I've built. And it's not just the business, it's the movement behind the business and the positive impact behind the business. Because at the end of the day, the business is just a physical worldly item, right? And it's really about the true meaning of it is to impact and help other people, you know?
Well, I say it goes back to a life of service.
Exactly.
I think you're doing that in multiple ways.
Yeah.
I remember having a moment where I was at Boundless. I came in for a protein shake or something. And I remember like this 70-year-old couple walking in. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Like Boundless is a little different than, you know, the typical GNC or vitamin shops that you see, because there is that community feel. And I think they actually were looking at like a probiotic or something, because I was very interested. I'm like, what the heck are you guys doing in here?
Yeah.
Like, you know, but I mean, all walks of life come in there, and you guys do a great job at welcoming everybody, your staff and your team, highest level of respect and customer service. So I'm very, very excited for you.
Thank you so much.
I love what Boundless is all about. I am very grateful for you, and I appreciate everything that you've poured into us.
Thank you. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you very much. Anything that you want to touch on that we did not touch on? Episode flew by.
Yeah. Wow. We're done. That's crazy. No, I feel like we really touched on a lot of things that are very important to me. And I just want to thank you. And you've been such a positive impact on my life. And, you know, you're one of those people that, you know, I've like met so many amazing people because of, and you and Sean and everyone with Ace. It's incredible. And like after those Sunday workouts in the summer, I just feel so fulfilled and like
empowered, right?
Like empowered and just like full of gratitude. You know, and I love what you guys are doing, and I'm so excited to see what this year has in store for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Where can everybody find you and connect with you?
So
want to really encourage everybody to check out Boundless Nutrition in Pleasantville, New York.
Thank you.
So Amanda, if you let everybody know.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram and Facebook. It's at Boundless Nutrition NY. My personal account is at Amanda Herdman. So that's where you can find us. So hope to see you guys all very soon. Thank you, Dave.
Very cool. You have you hit us with a great tagline, but I'm always tapping into people's mantras to see how I can steal them.
Yeah.
You have any other ones that you can drop on us that you think about on a consistent basis?
I mean, like, again, are you going to bleep me out?
No.
Okay.
I mean, maybe on Instagram, but
honestly, like, I just love to live by like the fuck around and find out.
So
listen,
funny.
I'm a Christian, but I mean, we're all imperfect. And like, I mean, I'll apply that to training. I'll apply that to life. Like, you know, you have an idea in your head, you know, just send it, just do it. Don't let fear hold you back. Just do it. That's it.
Beautiful. I love it.
Yeah.
And give us a holiday message. For everybody out there that's listening around the holiday season, whether they're feeling empowered or they're feeling a little negative.
Yeah. Fuck around and find out. Merry Christmas. You know, like I feel like I want to speak to the people that are feeling more negative this time of year, because it could be holidays could bring up a lot of, you know, emotional stress for people.
Absolutely.
Don't, you know, like find someone you can confide in and talk to if you're struggling. There's so many people out there who want to help. So many resources out there. And just keep moving, you know, like don't sulk, don't spend the day on your couch, you know, just move, get up. Movement is a medicine. It really, really is. And just keep going, you know, keep going. Like whatever season of life you're in right now and whatever thoughts are coming up for you, it's just a season. It's not permanent and it'll pass. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
And it's a constant reminder for me too, you know, even when I'm stuck in my negative thought
we
process.
all go through it.
Everybody does.
Everyone.
And that's the thing that negativity does not discriminate. Some just handle it a little bit better than others. But like anything, like Amanda was saying, you know, it's all about practice and putting these principles into your life and trying to do better. But anybody that's struggling during this holiday season, we just want to let you know that we are thinking of you, and you do not have to act like everything is okay. It is okay not to be okay. But I will challenge you as well that if you do have one of those days that you're sitting on the couch, never let it turn into 2 and 3 and 4, because that's where the spiral really happens. But you know, if you need a day to gather your thoughts, gather yourself, it's okay. I always encourage people to try to get back up and try again, whether you've made mistakes, whether you've been down. I have too, and I'm sure Amanda has as well. So Amanda, again, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you
so
for
happy
having
that we
me.
did this.
I love this. Yeah.
It was great conversation.
Thank you, Dave.
Guys, whether you've listened to 1 or 202 with Amanda Herdman, we strongly encourage you to check out Boundless Nutrition. We'll tag everything everything on there. And guys, we just want to wish you a happy holidays. No matter what it is that you celebrate, what you believe in, we just want to let you know that we believe in you. And as always, you can shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com. And until next time, stop snoozing.
Get up and get after it.
Amanda Boundless.
Thank you. That was great. Dude, I love that.
Thank you guys for tuning in. That's another Epi in the books. You can follow us on Instagram at No Snooze Podcast and leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, No Snooze. Shop the latest merch at nosnoozeshop.com. Come on.